Just slightly over 2 weeks have passed since Unpacked and since receiving and using the S22 Plus. Although the S22 Ultra has been getting the main workout, nothing surprises you more when the middle child actually steals the show. Using the S22 Plus feels like the story of Goldilocks, where everything is absolutely just right. Hi, Ben from SamMobile. If you enjoy new and exclusive videos like this, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos on YouTube for SamMobile TV. Here is our experience review of the S22 Plus after 2 weeks. I'm going to kick this review off with a very subjective take and say this is probably the nicest S-series flagship device Samsung have made to date. And I'm even confident at this time to take it a step further and say this is the nicest phone I've had the pleasure of using on a daily basis. That should then set the tone for my thoughts on the build, the overall design, and also the fit and finish of the S22 Plus. From the top tier materials being used, such as Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the front and the back, armor aluminium for the chassis, the nice buttons, the smaller but flatter, sharp rounded edges, Samsung had really mastered the design and took what they started with the unique identity of the S21 series and really just perfected it. The clean cut chamfered edges on the rear camera and the inner camera rings, and also how it sits above the frame. It's been an absolute pleasure using the S22 Plus, even in this pink gold color. Praise where praise is due. This is definitely Samsung at their peak when making a traditional modern day non-foldable smartphone. The S22 Plus is using an all new but yet smaller 6.6-inch display with a full high definition 1080p, 120Hz adaptive dynamic AMOLED panel with an increased max brightness up to 1750 nits. And best of all is that it's a flat display with completely thin and symmetrical borders all the way round. Funny enough, to our knowledge, this is the first time Samsung have been able to pull off a fully symmetrical borders for the front display, and we have to say it couldn't have come at a better time, as this level of immersion brings the best I've experienced on a smartphone. The attention to detail here, from the small hole punch for the camera, from how nice the front glass is to the touch, the refined haptic feedback for an even smoother response, aiding to a very good and excellent typing experience, especially with the flat display, makes you easily forget this is even a 1080p only display. Now, by principle, considering the starting price point of the S22 Plus, we still think Samsung should give the option of a QHD resolution, even if it means coming down to 90Hz. Another point of discussion has been the confusion around the adaptive refresh rate of the display. Initially, it was said to range between 10 to 120 Hz. Samsung updated the spec recently back to the original 48 to 120 Hz range from the S21 series. We did find that when we enabled the developer options and also turned on the display refresh rate counter, our display panel would actually go down as low as 24 Hz. Now, we can't actually count and say how accurate the refresh rate counter is, but we thought we would actually find and share our findings. All that considered, this is now officially my favorite real world experience when using a display on a smartphone. The dual speakers to my ears when listening and using them do seem to have a very slight improvement to the overall clarity at all levels up to maximum, and still minimal to no noticeable distortion. Now, testing it next to the S21, the improvement is very minor and you really have to listen out for it. As I'm based in the UK, my variant of the S22 Plus is using the Exynos 2200 with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. The overall day-to-day performance has been great, and that is to be expected with all the performance and specs it packs internally. We still feel an option of 12GB of RAM would be nice for longer term use cases when bigger updates arrive in the future. Only once or twice during day 1 or 2 of using the S22 Plus did I notice a few lockups for the first few days, which did require me to restart the phone for it to work smoothly. I haven't been able to experience or replicate this issue based on my usage patterns now, but overall the performance has been great. What's going to be really interesting and telling is that over time we'll see how this new X-Clip 920 GPU holds up, and also what developers will do to take advantage of features like VRS and also ray tracing, but you should have an overall good experience when it comes to gaming. Sadly, testing the camera has proven to be a big challenge for me here in the UK between the 10th of February until now recording this review on the 24th of Feb, no thanks to the storms and extremely bad weather on a daily I've been experiencing here. Overall though, we did do our best to put together our thoughts on the S22 Plus so far after 2 weeks. Let's talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, and some overall improvements and additions we would still love to see from Samsung. Strengths. The edge detection when using portrait mode, especially in daylight, is excellent and sees a great overall improvement. Having now a proper dedicated optical zoom lens has yielded better zoom results, especially when you move to the extreme end up to 30x, which is actually nice to see. The overall color science is improved and follows a more warmer look and tone. The video portrait mode finally adds video stabilization. It does apply an additional crop compared to before, so just bear that in mind when using it. As nice as 8K video is, only having a 24 frames per second mode with no 30 FPS or even pushing 60 FPS, in addition to a massive additional crop which adds no video stabilization, makes it a very niche showcase feature to still have. And also from Samsung, for all the talk of the improvement to nighttime video, we don't see the improvement we're expecting to see in general from what they were saying. Last for now is still not being able to switch between all the camera lenses when in video mode when you're recording in 4K 60 frames a second, just like what you can do with 4K 30. You still have to stop recording to switch to the lenses unless you're only changing to the front facing camera and then back to the main camera. Away from that, the camera experience overall is solid. Let's just hope for better weather conditions so we can follow up on our long-term review throughout the year. Out of the box, the S22 Plus is running Android 12, but now with One UI 4.1. We did a feature roundup video of what we discovered with One UI 4.1 so far compared to One UI 4.0 on the S21, so we definitely recommend you take the time and watch that. But the main key takeaway with One UI 4.1 is the fact that now with RAM Plus, you can select between 2, 4, 6, and 8 GB of internal storage to be used as virtual RAM. You still can't fully disable this feature, and also be warned, if you do change the default amount from 4 GB that is selected, then it will ask you to restart your phone. Apart from that, it's One UI 4 in all its glory, and on top of that, Samsung now gives you 4 generations of OS version updates, meaning the S22 Plus should make it all the way up to Android 16 and actually beats what Google offers with their Pixel phones and brings the fight even closer to Apple for long-term software support. As stated before, the S22 Ultra was being used as the main phone and getting a heavier workout in the day-to-day battery life usage. This actually gave me a great opportunity to test the battery life of the S22 Plus from a usage case of someone who is not so much of a heavy power user, and the results of what you would get when it comes to the battery life, since now the capacity has been reduced to 4,500 milliamps. Unlike the Ultra, there is no option to drop the display resolution down lower than the max native of 1080p. In my testing, the best results came from forcing the S22 Plus to use 4G LTE only and not 5G, while still keeping the adaptive brightness and also 120Hz on. With that in mind, the S22 Plus is easily lasting a day and a half with more than 45% battery left. I only managed to push the screen on time to a max of 3 hours while still using it, and that actually left me between 35 to 45% battery left before charging it. So judging by that, you should be able to get close to 7 hours of screen on time, or maybe even more. Now, the wide charging experience has so far been a very telling experience for us, and depending on when you're watching this video, it's still under investigation and more findings or potentially even concluded by now. We tested the super fast charging 2.0 feature of the S22 Plus using a 45-watt charger compared to the 25-watt charger using super fast charging 1.0. We highly recommend you watch that video, but in short, we saw no difference enough to justify using it. So that said, so far, just save your money and use the 25-watt charger. Concluding my experience so far after 2 weeks with the S22 Plus, I'm feeling very confident in knowing and understanding what Samsung wanted to achieve here with the S22 Plus. From the starting price point, you could be justified in saying that there should be things and options here to justify the cost. As such, when it comes to things like having a high resolution display, more RAM, and pushing it as far as maybe even saying expandable storage. But trust me when we say that the exercise of trimming back, focusing, and also perfecting the essential and the core experience to the best it can be from what was started with the S21 Plus. The S22 Plus now perfects and becomes Samsung's Goldilocks phone. Do you share our thoughts? Let us know in the comment section below. For the latest news in the world of Samsung daily, be sure to visit us at SamMobile.com. And for the latest videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and we will see you next time.